by the House of Lords in 1999 to do with when someone stages a demonstration on a highway, that, it's lawful, you're allowed to do it, and that other uses of the highway, including a demonstration, are allowed on a highway.
Is it a verdict of the English court or the Hong Kong court?
It is the British court. But obviously, Hong Kong is heavily influenced, the legal system under British law. Even though that was after 97, that's quoted in court. Yeah. And that judgment, it's actually DPP versus Jones, 1999, is quoted as a landmark judgment to do with a demonstration on a highway. It says that as long as road users can pass and repass, then it's not. Then it is lawful. And obviously, in terms of the court case itself, it went into a lot of detail about that. And obviously, I argued in court that it wasn't me who closed the bridge; it was the police and the government who came down, with all their vehicles and so on, and decided to close the bridge. But obviously, I am fully aware that it was a controversial. In some ways, it was the most controversial demonstration I've done. To do it during the Olympics, obviously, for Chinese people, many activists and democracy groups wouldn't have staged a demonstration. But on the other hand, I would say the complete opposite. Actually, I would say it's the one occasion where the international media are focused on China and Hong Kong, and that gives activists protection. Actually, it gives in a funny kind of way, and that's why certainly the judiciary didn't throw me in to prison for the maximum what they could have done. By law they could have thrown me in prison for 2 years. But if I hadn't done it during the Olympics, perhaps they might have thrown me in for longer, longer than the 4 months. There's a lot of factors involved when I made a decision to stage a demonstration like that. But obviously, another thing, I brought a few documents to show you, Eddie, actually, just to give you an idea. This one here is a letter I actually sent to the chief executive and the commissioner of police beforehand, in the weeks beforehand, saying exactly what I was going to do. I didn't tell them the location of where I was going to do it, but I told them this is exactly what I'm going to do. And I told them under the Constitution, the basic law, we've got the right to demonstrate. But cheekily, you see, I faxed a copy of that to the media. So the media knew exactly what I was going to do. So the police can't suddenly bust in my door and arrest me, because I haven't done anything. And I've got legal protection under the law saying I can do it. And I explained the law, explained, the landmark case, saying that someone's allowed to stage a demonstration. But obviously I didn't tell them where it was going to happen. And I had a meeting with the police beforehand, telling them it was going to be conducted in a very controlled way, a very slow and peaceful manner, and explained to them beforehand. So they knew it was coming, but obviously they didn't quite know it was going to be. Obviously I chose the Singmar Bridge. I thought it was the right location for a demonstration like that.
So point one is that you had a fully planned action.
Yeah.
And second, do you think it is not fair for you that they gave you such a long sentence? And to some of us, this seems that the government is trying to break your will as an activist. Do you think there is such an idea behind the scene?
Yeah, I mean, I'll let other people decide about the sentence. In politics, a lot of politics is.
We were shocked.
Yeah.
When it was announced.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I think, an activist, if it's a completely peaceful demonstration, if there's any public order matters involved, then someone should only get community service, I think. And it's wrong to send someone to prison, actually, and take away their freedom on principle. But that's the Hong Kong government, and they're thinking about that. They can see what I'm doing. It's kind of a new style of demonstrations. They're thinking about quite how to stop me, aren't they? I think.
Yeah.
But obviously, as an activist, you just have to face the consequences of what happened, really. But in terms of what I did, it was quite a big headache for the government, actually. Obviously, the media reported, this activist climbed the bridge and put out banners, calling for human rights and democracy. But they say obviously also he caused a pretty big, it caused quite a big traffic jam. But in terms of the government, it's quite a big problem to deal with it, obviously. And as an activist, I think in terms of the democracy movement, ultimately you have to think of different ways and strategies to try to get the government to negotiate. That's why I'm hoping that some other groups here will sort of think about it. Obviously, in terms of that bridge, it was technically quite difficult to do it, and I would say to other groups, don't sort of jump in and do something like that.
Because you have tried once.
Yeah, but obviously I've had experience of different stuff before, and I would say to other groups, there are ways to stage easier demonstrations, but with small groups of people, but obviously ways of fighting for power.
To me, given the occasion of Olympic Games, it seems that that was the only way that you can catch the attention of international media and the Hong Kong people.
Yeah.
In the future, we may not have the same occasion like that before.
Yeah, I mean, it was a one-off occasion. That the Olympics won't return in our lifetime to China, and certainly the demonstration I staged was a bit of a one-off demonstration in many ways. In terms of public opinion, I could do it actually, because it was the Olympics, and it needed someone in Hong Kong to stand up for human rights and democracy. Because obviously, the foreign media in the build-up to the Olympics, there was a lot of discussion about it, and I think they wanted Chinese people to also. The foreign media, they would have loved to have seen a large group of Chinese people. If there were 1,000 people on that bridge, that really would have been a big story, and the media would have caught the imagination and really would have been effective, I think. But obviously, I can see from the other perspective of Chinese activists that they were concerned about staging a demonstration during the Olympics.
So, in retrospect, do you think it was worth it?
Yeah. I think I'm glad I did it. I think I just about pulled it off successfully. I'm glad I did it. Obviously, it's not that nice being in prison for 4 months, and one day in prison feels like a week outside, actually. And time.
No, so frankly speaking, I can barely recognize you.
Yeah.
At this moment.
Yeah, I've lost quite a bit of weight, haven't I?
Not quite a bit, a lot.
Yeah, I've lost. To give you an idea, I've lost over 20 kg.
In case I bump into you on the street, I could.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say this is Matt.
Yeah, I look a bit different. Yeah, I've lost 20 kg.
So keep that weight.
Yeah. I will try to. I'll try to.
You are more handsome in this way. So going back to politics, what are your future plans?
Well, I'm interested in talking more and going to more meetings to do with LSD, and
there will be a lot of them in the near future.
Yeah. I mean, it's ongoing.